Alrighty, folks, welcome back to another episode of Good Neighbor Sports. My name is Austin Hinton, and today the Buffalo Bills are playing the Chicago Bears in their second preseason game, and they're in Chicago today, and guess what? Right now it's halftime. I'm not even done watching the full game, but that first half was absolutely insane, so I had to come down here and just, get all of my thoughts off my chest before I go in and watch the second half. But holy cannoli, it is 34-6 right now at the half, and the Bills couldn't look any better. The Chicago Bears look like a JV team, and we're just absolutely pushing them around. So, let's get right into it.
And now the Bills are on the rise again.
It is pandemonium. It is fantastic.
All right, so I got my notes here. I've been taking notes all the first half, and, good thing I am, because this is an absolute doozy of a game. In the first quarter, let's just throw out some stats real quick. Trubisky was 13 for 18, and in total in the first quarter, the first downs, Buffalo had 10. The Bears only had 1. Now, that speaks volumes for not only the Bills' offense, but their defense as well. And it has been nothing but a story for our defensive line. That's right, our brand new defensive line, including Rousseau, is looking absolutely stout right now. The very first drive, the defensive line just looked great, 3 and out. The Bills' very first drive looked a little shaky at the start with Kumaro making a drop, and other than that, Trubisky was looking very much on point. Knox dropped the ball, which, that kind of pains me to see because that's always been his issue, and it seems like it's persisting. But a good thing to see is that Deion Dawkins is in. After battling COVID and actually having a really, really tough time with it, he seems to be back. I guess he had lost 16 pounds, and he's just getting back into the swing of things, so it's good to see him getting some snaps out there, and hopefully he's ready for the regular season. But Singletary right now in the first quarter looked phenomenal. On 4th and 1, he got a touchdown, and he's shaking tackles. He's getting first contact and running through these players like it's nothing. Usually he'd go down after first contact, like I mentioned in the previous video, but man, he's looking really, really good. I think the story of the first quarter was Trubisky looking great and Singletary looking great, and also all those first downs and the lack thereof on the Bears side. McKenzie also shining a little bit. He absolutely kind of screwed up the kick return. Almost fumbled it, almost turned it over, but the Bills recovered, and he actually made it up later down the road with a couple of receptions that looked pretty good. But again, Singletary was the story of the first quarter. And then at the end of the first quarter, the Buffalo Bills recover a fumble. It was Matakavich that caused it, and a rookie Hamlin recovered it. First quarter, absolutely flawless. Second quarter, just as shiny as the first one. But I think the accolades go to Moss and Breida on this one. And seeing that I mentioned Singletary, Moss, and Breida just in the first half of play means our running back room is absolutely stout. Like I said, we should be using them a whole lot more this season. We got the passing game down pat, but if teams are expecting the pass all the time, the run is going to be neglected, and now teams should start expecting the run so that our passing attack is just going to be unreal. I am so excited. This game is just getting me steezed. And up until this point, the Bills had 4 drives, and every drive ended in a touchdown. What can you say other than this is freaking awesome? Another kind of shining diamond in the rough here today is our little tight end, Hollister. He got a touchdown, but he's also just, he's got good hands. Dawson Knox should take some notes. Hollister's got good hands, and he can run. He's a big dude. And, maybe Hollister gets a good spot on the roster going forward, and, maybe even challenges Knox for, a starting tight end position. And once again, in the second quarter, the defensive line is absolutely killing it. Rousseau is a beast. And, you can take that to the bank. He is killing it. I'm saying killing it too often, but holy cow, I'm just fresh off of watching that first half. And, yeah, it's just that's the word, killing it. The Bills are killing it. And it seems that with Dalton in play, all of the Bears fans in the stadium are chanting to get Fields out there. And it hurts to see because we, as Buffalo fans, love Andy Dalton. But it would be interesting to see Justin Fields out there, so maybe we'll see him in the second half. This video is also going to, cover that, so keep watching and you'll see. But again, McKenzie making up for his kickoff return fumble with a 36-yard return. after that one. So, like I said, McKenzie really making up for his mistake, and he's awesome. You know, face of the franchise. What can't he do? Now, Dalton, our man, our red shining, our what do you want to call him? The Red Rocket? I don't want to call him the Red Rocket, but hey, that's the first thing that came to mind. Anyways, 73-yard touchdown throw to Adams. That's the only blemish that the Bills defense has let up this first half. And as a note, let me mention, the Buffalo Bills defensive line has been great, and we haven't really been able to see too much from the secondary, and I think it's because our defensive line has just been great. So, you know, our secondary really hasn't had to do too much. And the Bills get their first crappy drive of the half. Only one in one half. It's insane. The Bears go for it on 4th and 8, and Epinessa's there to swat it down. I'll show you this clip of him just absolutely, what the announcers say is ragdolled this offensive lineman, and then just gets after the pass and swats it down. Epinesa showing his colors. And then Trubisky led the offense to the 15-yard line, and Bass drills in a field goal, as always.
All right, Bass, you got 1 point on the board. Let's get 3 more. It's good, baby. Tyler Bass locking it down.
And again, defensive line looking phenomenal, but this time the secondary pulls through, and McLeod picks off at the end of the second quarter, allowing the Bills to get Kumaro inbounds for some toe drag swag, giving Tyler Bass an easy 41-yard field goal to round out the second half.
Kumaro with the toe drag swag, getting Bass in for 41-yard field goal, and he puts it through, baby. Buffalo Bills 34-6. We're killing it. 34 points in one half. Let's go, baby.
I'll be back in a minute. I gotta watch the second half. And well, if you're not as excited as me for this regular season, hopefully this game gets you in the driver's seat, ready to go. And man, I know it's preseason. I'm always gonna have that asterisk next to everything, but you know, we're seeing everything we want to see in this preseason game, the second edition. We got one more left, and then it's regular season, but so far we're looking pretty damn unstoppable. All right, and we're back. The game's over. It's time to recap the second half, and while it wasn't as flashy and amazing as the first half, the Bills still never took their foot off the gas. The fourth quarter got a little shaky from both ends, a lot of turnovers, but it was all garbage time after halftime anyways, so I wasn't really, putting too much weight on all of these turnovers. So starting the third quarter, Fromm gets the start, and Jake Fromm, he wasn't able to do too much on his first drive. We punted off, and then Justin Fields, as to the delight of many Bears fans, takes the field. On this drive, Zimmer goes down with what looks like an elbow injury, but later gets back into the game. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. But our guy, Wild Goose, in the backfield, making some good plays. I think we picked him up in the 6th round in this previous draft, and so far, with the previous preseason game and this one, he looks like he's going to be pretty good at corner up there. Their first drive of the second half didn't go anywhere, but as they punted it off, our man, Marquez Stevenson, returns that punt for a 79-yard touchdown. I was always kind of sad that we lost Robert Foster. He made kickoffs and punt returns very exciting to watch in a league where generally they're not anymore. And now maybe we have Marquez Stevenson filling that gap, that hole that Roberts left us. And Stevenson's got some flashy moves. He's cutting in left and right, blah, blah, blah. It makes kickoff returns, punt returns exciting to see. So maybe Stevenson catches a spot on our roster as maybe our special teams highlight player. The third quarter wasn't really much to write home about from either side of the ball, so let's get right into the fourth quarter, which is kind of more of the same. Andre Smith Jr. absolutely blasts Justin Fields, but draws a penalty for it. That kind of play would have been fine in maybe 20, 30 years ago in the league, maybe even just 10 years ago, but not today. Fields kind of ducked to anticipate the hit from Smith Jr., and it ended up causing a helmet-to-helmet interaction, and the flag is thrown. Anyways, it is a great play, in my opinion. After that play, the Bears get a rushing touchdown, which kind of highlights the Buffalo Bills' inadequacy at rush defense. It's not horrible, but it still needs some work. So now Davis Webb is in the game, and he throws a pick six, which actually gets called back because, well, it was actually an incomplete pass Still, you don't like to see it. Fields takes the field again, and the defensive line from the Bills just stops him cold in his tracks. A couple of back-to-back turnovers by the Bills, and our defensive line then taking down Fields, and the game is over. The final score of the game was 41-12. Our Bills taking the lead, taking the victory. We are 2-0 in the preseason, which again doesn't matter. You can be undefeated in the preseason, then go 0-16. Now 0-17 with the new extra game, but that is not happening for the Bills. So far, we're just looking great, and I am so excited for this regular season. I hope you are too. And as I wrap up the video, I got a couple closing points. Marquez Stevenson looked great on that punt return, but his ankle is now injured, and hopefully that isn't too serious. I want to see him back out there because, you know, I don't want that to be a fluke. I want to see what he looks like on punt returns and kick returns all the time. And segueing into our guy, Josh Allen. He didn't play at all, but there's one thing from today's game. If you were a local viewer, you noticed as well as I noticed, and it's a really big flaw with Josh Allen, and that's the fact that he is not a great actor when it comes to commercials. He's got a couple West Her commercials and some other forgettable commercials that, you know, isn't going to net him the big State Farm commercials like Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes, but maybe that's just not his calling. He is not a commercial salesperson. He's not selling out. He just made the bag, and he doesn't need the commercial sponsorship deals to do anything. He's not an actor. He's a football player, and that's how we like him. Aaron Rodgers is a great actor. He's a great Jeopardy host. Josh Allen, he's a great dude, great football player. Maybe don't get him any IMDb credits, but that's all I gotta say about that. Other than that, go out to Wegmans, pick up yourself some hot sauce. Benefits Oshai Children's Hospital. I know I'm going to be heading out there, picking up some hot sauce. You got the Josh's Jackson. Now you got some 3 different hot sauces. You got barbecue, hot, and I think mild or whatever. Either way, you got to go pick up that gear because, well, this team is going to the Super Bowl, and you're going to want to remember it by eating some wings. And that's all I got for you today. As always, be good to your neighbors, and go Bills.